Alright, what's up guys? Today I wanted to try something a little different, apart from the normal awkward gameplays and whatnot. And I wanted to tell a story. Just to share something. It's not important, it's just like a random thing that's happened to me before. I mean, I've seen other people share stories like this, and like Luna and Leafy on their videos. And so I decided I wanted to share a story of my own. So I'm going to be telling the story of the time that I was kicked off the track team. Now, let me preface this by saying that I was not a fan of track. I did not like anything about it. I hated going to practice. I hated going to meets. I hated it. Personally, in track, I was a distance runner, meaning that I had to run the 1600, which is a mile, 4 laps around the track, and I also ran the 800, which is 2 laps. But then I also, for some reason, I wanted to do the sprints just to get it over with, because you had to do 3 events with every track meet. And so what sucked about it so much, like it wouldn't be so bad if that's all I had to do, and if in practice, like, but the thing is that no, none of the coaches that were in track knew anything about coaching distance runners because they're just used to teaching sprinting or like they coach football, and so like me and my couple of my friends, we were doing distance running, and we all hated it just because like the distance runners had to do their own workout and then also had to do the sprinters workout too for some reason. And so like they say, "Hey, yeah, go off and run for half an hour, but then come back and then you have to do like 6 100-meter repeats as fast as you can." Or like another time they say, "Do 8 400-meter repeats, but you have to get them all under 60 seconds," which is hard enough on its own, but doing every single one consistently that fast is just terrible. And anyway, and also the coach is well known for not being too nice of a guy. I'm not gonna say any names here, but I mean, yeah. And also, he's also kind of a he's usually pretty nice to his track kids in his class 'cause he's also a biology teacher, and so like he kind of gave them better grades than they should have had. Like kind of how I had like 102 in that class the entire year, despite the fact that I didn't do an entire test. Um, but anyway, let's get back to the actual story of how I got kicked off the track team. So we were preparing for our last meet, like the very last one, which I was in the JV because I was not good at track at all. Like my times were very bad comparatively. Like I mean, I had a pretty good mile time. Like if you just think about running a mile, but if you're thinking of for a really good track team, you're like, yeah, no, that's bad. Like the top kid on our team had like just over 4 minutes on his mile time, and mine was like just over 6, which isn't good. But anyway, like we're preparing for that, and I was thinking, well, I mean, there's a couple practices left. I don't have to go to this one because I had to set up for this show that we had for the show choir called Cabaret, which yeah. So and we have to set up the stage for it, and it takes literally hours. So I was thinking, I'm like, I'm not good at the track on the track team. They know I'm not good on the track team, and as far as I'm concerned, well, as far as I know, setting up the stage for Cabaret was required. Like I have to do it. And so I'm like, okay, okay, I'll help them do that. So then, like after school was when we started setting it up, and after school is also when track practice started. So I'm like, okay, there's still 3 practices before the meet. I can miss one because setting up for Cabaret takes one day, and so I can just set up for that and then go to practice the next day, no problem. So then like 2 hours passed, and I started noticing that more people were coming in to help set up with Cabaret, and also noticed that these same people were the same ones that were on the track team. So it turns out that despite the fact that we had set up for the Cabaret that day, the same people that were on the track team that were also in the show choir went to track practice. Well, I didn't. And my one friend, he came up to me and he told me that he had some bad news. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, you know how you stayed here instead of going to track practice?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He says, well, coach says that you've been kicked off the team. I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "Why?" He says, well, I told him because I mean, I asked him to tell him why I wasn't going to be there, and he said, "Oh, well, I told him you were going to set up for cabaret, and also told him that our other friend wasn't going to be here." And then apparently the coach said, um, "Well, he can set up for cabaret for the rest of his life. He's done." And she's like, "So you're off the track team?" I was like, "What? Why? That's stupid. Like, as far as I know, I had to be here." And then he's like, "What was our other friend's excuse?" He says, he didn't have an excuse. Like, I just told him that he wasn't going to be there, and coach was fine with it. Which, after I heard that, I was pretty mad because I mean, I had a actual legitimate excuse that I reason as I wasn't there, and our friend, he had no reason not to be there. He just didn't go because he didn't want to. But I mean, I think that my coach gave him special treatment because he was better than me in track. My other friend was, and so yeah. But I mean, I was kind of upset for a while, but at the same time, I was like, you know what, whatever. I don't really care because, like I said, I hated track. I did not like track at all. I was just afraid that anyone would be upset with me, like my parents, but they were just kind of mad at the coach too. We didn't do anything about it though because I didn't want to be in track. And then for the next 2 years of high school, I didn't do track. And then, like, so I decided to do cross country instead, which I did enjoy much better. And I also improved my running, but I never went back to the track team. And so yeah, that's the story of how the time I got kicked off the track team. I mean, it was kind of boring, I guess, but it's just the first story that I wanted to tell. So thank you guys for watching. Like and comment, subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you in the next video.